Welcome back everyone to a brand new episode of the Vegan Pickup series on the channel. My name is Chandler and this is episode number 64 of the VGP series, again on this channel. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. This is a pretty special pickup episode today. So, as many of you may or may not know, I've been paying for about 3 months on payment plans for just this add-on, and I'm so happy I now have it in my collection as of yesterday. But I'm up to 1,600 games as of this pickup, because I added 4 to it, to the back physical game collection and whatnot. So without further ado, shout out to my good friend Tate for hooking me up with the deals as usual and always, and being such a down-to-earth and caring person. It really does mean a lot. Well, let's get into it. So first up, we got Body Harvest on the N64. So I've heard some very good things about this game. The time 2016 AD, species Homo sapien, status extinct. So someone on a podcast I was listening to related this with GTA. So that really sold me, as well as my friends told me to pick this game up. So I'm really excited to have this, especially because just the art on the front and back just sold me on it instantly. I also bought this from her as well. So, have you ever played this? Let me know. And what games have you been playing recently? Because I'm actually kind of wanting to know, because it gives me an idea of what to pick up next and look into. But like, look at that. That looks actually really cool. Really cool. I love this so much. That's Body Harvest on the N64. Next up is one I've been really after for a long time. This is probably the rarest add-on for a console. Actually, probably the rarest thing I have in my collection now. And that is the N64 DD, which came in the RANDNet starter kit right there, as well as the manual, the peripherals, the games, the RANDNet DD disc, and everything. Everything's still sealed in this. This is sealed. The cable, the modular the cable is sealed, as well as the modem is still sealed. So basically the modem attaches in here. You take the wire, put it into the, I think the back of the cartridge or the top, and it would basically connect you to the internet, dial up pretty much. And you put the floppy in right here. This is what it looks like. So basically, the N64 DD was developed by Nintendo and Alps Electronics for the Japanese release date on December 11th, 1999. So this was only a Japanese exclusive add-on for the N64. This really neat add-on attached into the extension port, which is right here on the bottom. And it would attach into here, it would screw in to the bottom, and the feet would attach into where the feet go. On the N64's underside, which enabled expanded and rewritable data via proprietary 64 megabyte magnetic discs, as well as introducing a real-time clock for the game's world elements, which is pretty neat if you ask me. The DD unit could actually connect to the internet using the online service RANDNet disc, which could be used for e-commerce, online gaming, as well as media sharing, for example, and playing online with friends, and even checking your email. The DD was actually discontinued during February 2001, which meant they only released 10 games for this add-on. There was apparently going to be 60 games, but again, because it's a commercial failure, didn't do well in Japan and whatnot, it never came out in the States, so they only released 10 games for this. And luckily I have 3 of those out of the 10. So they released the games as standard 64 games, were ported to the GameCube, or were just canceled altogether instead. So this version of the DD unit is called the RANDNet Starter Kit, which released in Japan on December 13th, 1999, with 6 games in the mail and 1 year, well, in the mail bi-monthly, and 1 year of internet service, which is pretty convenient if you ask me. The starter kit was initially sold via mail order, but Nintendo eventually did limited quantities of just the DD unit and games which were released in stores. Inside the box, it came with a modem cartridge, an expansion pack, which I don't have, but it's in my other system. RedNet browser disk, still sealed, which is pretty neat. The phone cable for connecting to the online service. And one of the cool things about the expansion, well, the peripherals, they had a really rare DD unit keyboard, a capture cartridge, and I can't remember the other ones, but there's so many cool things for it. So the games that are in this lot that I bought from her, shout out to her again. We got the RedNet disc, which released on February 23rd, 2000 for Japan, only in Japan, for the DD unit, which allowed you to play games online with friends, for example, like I just said earlier. SimCity 64, also released on February 23rd, 2000, only in Japan, as a possible sequel to the Super Nintendo, otherwise known as the SNES, release of SimCity in 1991. That's actually really neat. It was developed by Hall Laboratory and published by Nintendo for the DD. The gameplay was a tiny bit different, but overall the same as SimCity 2000, minus a few tiny differences such as the graphics and being able to view your city at night, at the time before SimCity 4 released. So I'm going to show you what the cartridge looks like, if I can open this. So here's the manual. I wish I knew Japanese. Let's see if I can pull this out. So this is the cartridge right here, which is very cool. So it's a floppy. So this thing, I think it's stored, I want to say 64 megabytes of data on here. So it would attach. So basically, you would do this. You would put it into the cartridge slot right there, and it would just sit in there. You would attach this into there via the expansion port, and voila, you can play the DD unit games, which is pretty cool if you ask me. It's very unique. I wish this came out in the States, but the thing was delayed, I want to say twice before the release date in 99. I think it was delayed in 95 and 97. Could be wrong. I cannot remember for the life of me right now. But yeah, it's actually really unique, if you ask me. So I'm gonna put that back. That's really nice. I will show you guys that stuff in a second. And then right here we have the F-Zero X expansion kit on the DD. So basically, the expansion kit released on April 21st, 2000 in Japan, while being developed as the first expansion kit by Nintendo EAD and published by Nintendo on the 64 DD. It contains 12 new tracks, a machine creator, a course editor, and many more cool things like creating your own cup. In the course editor, you can design racing circuits just by using a cursor to determine the basic layout of really everything. You can make hills and whatnot. So this thing is actually really cool and neat. See if I can open this. I don't really want to. Actually, maybe I will. I don't want to break it. So there's the manual, and there's the floppy, the disk drive floppy. I'm gonna flip that around. So my plan is this coming Sunday, the 21st, I will be in Richmond with my buddy Brian, and we will be vending in Richmond, Virginia at the Answer Brew Pub from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. and I'll have this whole thing on display in a showcase. It's not for sale, absolutely not for sale, but it's going to be on display for people to look at, and I'll make little cards explain what each thing is and whatnot. So, real quick, I'm going to show you guys the box. So, there's everything it comes with. Which is, this box is actually really cool. That's adorable, the eyes and everything. But it's like, I'm so thankful for her for basically hooking me up as per usual with all this stuff. So if you haven't checked her out, check out her eBay and everything. It's literally right here. Here's the QR code for you to scan. Hope you guys can scan this. Here's the RandNet DD disc. Again, it lets you connect to do everything. This thing is actually really cool, to be honest with you. And then, I don't want to take the cord out because it's still attached. But here's the modem. I'm going to pick this up. There's the modem right there. That's where it would attach to the cable. So you can access everything on there. And that's still sealed. That's insane to think about. But here's the manual, which is still sealed with the old ass tape. Here it is right here. This is crazy to think about that on a rare piece of Nintendo history. Nintendo of Japan history in general. Because I never thought in a million years I would ever own this. It's cool. I'll show you guys how it connects. So basically, so you want to line it up with the expansion port on the bottom with the insert. Do this, and then you would flip the DD unit over, and there's like screws that you tighten and make sure it's all tight and neat and tidy. Make sure it looks nice and whatnot. I need to make sure that this is basically region free. My old ass 64. I need to make sure I just need to clip the pins out and inside so I can play this region free. But regardless, if you're in Richmond, Virginia this coming Sunday, make sure, and please make sure that if you're free or anything, come out and check us out at our booth. We have video games. We have really everything you can think of from retro to modern. Even, I think we will even bring some Pokemon stuff with us, like plushes and everything. So, the Answer Brew Pub, this coming Sunday, the 21st, at 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Free arcade, free parking, free entry. And I'll have this on display in a glass showcase. And I hope you all come out, have fun, and support your local retro video game scene. I've been Chandler, and I'll see you guys next time. It's been a pleasure. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a lot. And I'll see you guys next time.